This meeting of the Bellevue School Board of Directors for April 17th, 2025 is now called to order, and we will start with roll call. Okay.
Phil Block.
Carolyn Watson.
Monica Webster.
Kelly Aramaki.
Okay, and we're expecting that perhaps Director Jane Ars will. She's online.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you
All
see
right,
me?
great. Not yet, but I will. Okay. What we have next is the introduction of the student.
Thank you, President Watson. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Vic Anderson, the principal of Bellevue High School, to do the honor of introducing our student tonight.
Good afternoon, School Board Director, Superintendent Aramaki. It's my great pleasure to introduce our student, Ivan Salavari, who's going to lead us today in the flag salute and land acknowledgement. And he's also here with his mother, Miss Webner, and his grandparents, Taletta and Carl. Ivan.
Stand for the pledge. So.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We want to acknowledge that we are on indigenous land on the Coast Salish peoples, who include the Duwamish, Muckleshoot, and Snoqualmie peoples. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. We reflect on the historic context that brings us to reside on this land and accept responsibility to interrupt erasure. We commit to an ongoing partnership with the Snoqualmie tribe as we listen to, learn from, and lead with their guidance.
Great, thank you. But we are now ready to hear whatever it is
Yes.
that you want to tell us.
Yes. Good evening, school board members, superintendent, staff, and community members. My name is Ivan Salvera Jr., and I'm a senior at Bellevue High School. I'm deeply honored to speak with you tonight, and even more honored to share that I've recently received an appointment to the United States Naval Academy.
All right.
This isn't just a school I will be attending. It's the fulfillment of a dream I've carried for years. A dream to serve something greater than myself, to become a leader, and to carry on a legacy of honor and commitment. From a young age, I knew I wanted to wear a uniform that meant something. From the Veterans Day Assembly at Medina Elementary, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance in my Cub Scouts uniform, to seeing my dream come true at the Naval Academy and standing amongst those who dedicate their lives to defending others. Dreams like this don't come true alone. It took a community to help me rise to the challenge. Bellevue High School has become that community. It wasn't just where I studied, it's where I started becoming the person I aspired to be. Wrestling too gave me something special. At Bellevue High, I've been fortunate enough to be part of the program that doesn't just build athletes, it builds character. Although the lack of funding posed a problem in the program, it showed me how to keep on going during setbacks. Since then, we are proud to say that our program has pushed a two-time state champ, that's me, and Bellevue's first female finalist, Josephine Ives. As women's wrestling becomes the fastest growing sport in the nation, their achievements show how much potential lies in giving young women the opportunity to compete. We also have the Wolverine Tech leader, who placed 4th at state, Sash Kite, and freshman Carmelo Madden, who placed 8th at state and has a bright future ahead of him. And Matthew Zhang, whose academic rigor and wrestling mentality catapulted him to be accepted by Duke. Bellevue is where I learned how to lead by example, not just words. To every coach, teammate, and sparring partner, thank you. for sharpening me both as an athlete and as a person. I hope my story can inspire the Bellevue community to help fund the wrestling program, to build future leaders on and off the mat. Outside the gym, I found strength in the academics through tutoring, teachers, and role models who showed me that it's possible to be both strong and smart. Teacher like Mrs. B building a welcoming community to chemistry students, to Mr. Kralovich diving deeper into the fundamentals of inertia. They sparked my passion for STEM and helped me see that science and engineering are also forms of service, tools to protect, solve, and to build a better future. I want to take this moment to sincerely thank the people who walked beside me on this journey. Dad, thank you so much for motivating me to achieve my dreams. Mom, thank you so much for the constant love and support. To my family, friends, coaches, teachers, sparring partners, and study buddies, thank you for showing up, pushing me, and never letting me settle. To Bellevue High School Wrestling, thank you for the memories, the sprints, the motivation. I will carry that Wolverine spirit with me to Annapolis and beyond. As I prepare to take this next step, I'm not just thinking about my journey. I'm thinking about the future students in our district who dream of attending a service academy. To those coming up behind me, I believe in you. I hope my story shows that through enough hard work and support, anything is possible. And I hope that you can go on to make us proud. Thank you again to the board and the Bellevue School District for making space for student voices and student dreams. I'm ready to serve this country with everything I've got, and I'll never forget where it came from. Go Wolverines, go Navy.
Thank you for that, and thank you for your future service. Next, we have the acknowledgements. Here we go. This month is Arab American Heritage Month, Autism Acceptance Month, National Occupational Therapy Month, National School Library Month, Poetry Month. The 18th is Good Friday. The 20th is Easter. The 20th is also the Festival of Ridvan. The 20th is Orthodox Easter. The 21st through 25th is National Student Leadership Week. The 21st through 25th is Public School Volunteer Week. The 22nd is Earth Day. The 22nd is also National School Bus Appreciation Day. The 23rd is Administrative Professionals Day. And the 24th is Holocaust Remembrance Day. Okay, next we have the approval of the agenda. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion of that? No. All right. In that case, let's vote. So all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the agenda passes. And let's go on to the consent agenda. And I'm going to move that we approve the consent agenda. Would anybody second?
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion of the consent agenda? Okay, nobody's coming forward. So let me call the vote. All those in favor of passing the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. The consent agenda passes. And next, we're going on to our new board director oath of office. I'm going to hand that over to the superintendent.
All right. If Mark Detrias would like to come up to the front, meet me up here. Yes, okay, sure. All right, we are thrilled for this day and to have you serving as a school board director, Marta. And so we're going to do this oath of office, and then we're going to have you join us up here on the dais. Okay? All right, so I'll say a part, and then I'm going to go like this.
Okay.
Okay, all right. All right, so repeat after me. I, Marta Trias, do solemnly affirm
I, Marta Triles, do solemnly affirm
to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and will faithfully perform the duties of Director of District 3, Bellevue School District number 405,
and will faithfully perform the duties of Director of District 3, Bellevue School District number 405,
in the County of King, State of Washington,
in the County of King, State of Washington,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Oh, your stuff. Yes, please. Should we take a photo? Okay, let's take a photo. And then, Jane, we're going to have you just, you look great. Stand right where you are. And then we're going to come by the TV. Okay.
Time for this superintendent updates.
Okay, I have a quick update today. We have a lot on our agenda, and then we have a study session this afternoon, right after this meeting. And so just a couple quick things. First of all, congratulations again to Ivan. Thank you for sharing. We're really proud of you. I mean, I'm not your dad, but I think just you talking about your parents and your grandparents being here, they've just got to be so proud, and to have you serving our country like that is really amazing. So thank you for being here and talking about Bellevue High School. I'm sure Dr. Anderson is proud of you as well. And then Director Trias, it's such an honor to sit next to you. Congratulations for being on the board. Thank you for your service as well. Okay, just a couple of things, really just a couple of things. This first one is I was able to visit Newport Heights Elementary School the other day, and just so much to celebrate at that school. This is the school that I first started my teaching career at, but many people know that we started the state's first elementary kindergarten program, in a Korean kindergarten program at Newport Heights, and we're going to be growing it to first grade next year. But it has just been so exciting to see the whole school embracing the learning of Korean. I was in the kindergarten classroom, and students were speaking in Korean and doing all this amazing things. And so I was really proud. And there's a picture of one of our assistants and principal, Chris, and he's taking Korean. So as a principal, he's trying to learn alongside his students. And so I'm just really proud of the work that they're doing at Newport Heights. And there's a picture, their PTA at Newport Heights is just remarkable. And they put all these beautiful decorations all around the school all the time. And they have these big kind of presentation cases where they are always honoring and recognizing the heritage and cultures of our students. So you can see Arab Heritage Month. They have this beautiful display there. And so I just want to say thank you to the Newport Heights PTSA for leaning in and supporting and just making that such a joyful place. My main update today is just to share just a couple of updates, speaking of funding for education, but a couple of updates on some of the legislative bills that we're watching. The bill on special education, which is Senate Bill 5263, has passed both houses, and so we're waiting for them to just to align kind of the language before they send it to the governor. We were hoping for the Senate numbers, which was $5 million that would come to the to Bellevue School District, but based on their own financial issues, they have reduced the funding that would go out to schools. So we would expect, at the numbers that they're saying right now, about $1.3 million annually for special education. So it's more than zero, not as much as 5 million. And then for materials, supplies, and operating costs, Senate Bill 5192, we were hoping for 2.5 million, but it looks like it's about $500,000 that would come annually to the Bellevue School District. But both houses have passed it, so now they just have to reconcile the two together. But it does look like we are going to get some funding for both special education and material, supplies, and operating costs. So I'm thankful for that. The state still has a lot of work to do to fully fund education, but this is at least a step in the right direction. I'm very excited about this Senate Bill 5412. This was a bill to support a district that was in financial disrepair, and it allowed the district to be able to sell property and put the money from the sale of the property into their general fund in order to bring it back into solvency. And some folks on our financial team were saying, you know, if it said binding conditions, this would be a bill that could really help Bellevue. And so we proposed some amendment language, and which was accepted. And it's very exciting because this bill is going through. We're just waiting for the governor to sign it. But, you know, it's devastating for Bellevue to be going into binding conditions this summer. This is not something that we're thankful for. It's not something that we are looking forward to or okay with, but it is a reality based on the challenges of funding, state funding for school districts. But if we do go into binding conditions and this bill is passed, we will be able to take advantage of that by selling property that we have, which we have on sale already as approved by the board. And that money would then be allowed to be put into our general fund balance. So that would be a really huge thing for us. And then lastly, there's a new Senate bill that kind of popped up, 5812, which is about the local levy, and LEA, which is local effort assistance, which is the state support for districts that can't raise funds through their local levy. That bill, I was able to testify on yesterday. If passed, it would bring us $10 million a year in revenue from our local levy, which our voters have already passed. So we're looking forward to seeing that bill hopefully make it through the legislature and then signed hopefully by the governor. So a lot of things happening right now in the legislature. I have hope that these things will turn out and we will see better days for our school district financially. And then this is just a last picture to look at. I look at it like every day because it shows you kind of where the bills are in the Senate. And so it's kind of sad when you only see the first little dot colored in, but then as your bill moves through, you can see it kind of each next dot gets colored in. But this is the Senate bill on the binding conditions. So this is what it looks like when the Senate and the House push a bill through and then it goes to the governor. So I am thrilled. I mean, it's just great to see this bill make its way through. Representative Callan, she's one of our representatives in the House. She's the one who really helped get this amendment through. So I just want to say thank you to Representative Callan. And again, thank you to Director Aras, who helped kind of work through those channels as well. We really appreciate that leadership in order to get bills that support the Bellevue School District. So with that, that is my update.
All right, thank you. So now we move on to time for public comment. And I'm relying on Chief of Staff there who coordinates this. Okay, these are the public comment guidelines, and I typically just sort of summarize some of the high points. So because of time constraints, we ask you to speak for not more than 2 minutes, and there'll be a timer. And we also ask that you maintain the same standard of civility that the board imposes on itself. So therefore, we ask that you do not make any comments that are libelous or slanderous, an unwarranted invasion of privacy, obscene or indecent pursuant to the Federal Communications Act or any rule of the FCC, nothing that violates school district policy or procedure related to harassment, intimidation, bullying, or discrimination. Please do not incite an unlawful act on school premises or violate a lawful school regulation or create a material and substantial disruption of the orderly operation of this board meeting. So with that said, you can read the rest, and I'm turn it over to Chief of Staff John Harrison.
Thank you, President Watson. So we have 3 speakers all in person this evening. Speakers, you can see that clock in the top left-hand corner states 2 minutes. It'll be ticking down as you speak. Please be cognizant of the time that you have. Most important thing is to state your name for the record when you get up to speak. And then that's basically it. And we'll have our first speaker come up to the table here where Ivan spoke from, and we'll begin. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. When I was here last to speak with the board last September 2024 with the news that Shannon McMenamin's passed as the president and legal counsel for the Puget Sound John Brown Gun Club, I received no response, still looking for responses for that. I've also had 2 constructive denials of 2 public records requests I submitted that day. So the district's 7 months out of compliance with the Public Records Act. Regarding the Puget Sound John Brown Gun Club, I'm curious if the district's now taken on a pro-Second Amendment position in light of the revelations about Mrs. McMenamy as current counsel. Does the board of directors support an armed society, but only in so much as people agree with their politics? You may wonder why I'm asking the question, but you don't have to look any further than the viewpoints of your current counsel for the district. The gun club she was president and legal counsel for provided armed security with AR-15s and an assortment of handguns at the Chaz Chop, as reported by the Daily Beast, while Miss McMenamy was the active president of that gun club. Here are the corporate filings. I've got them right here from February 8th of 2020, showing Miss McMenamy as the sole governor of the gun club. The Chaz Chop occurred in June of 2020. Here as well are posts made by the gun club and Shannon individually during the Chaz Chop time under President McMenamy's leadership. This is the district's current legal counsel. Quote, all across the country, police are running out of crowd control ammunition and getting surrounded by protesters who outnumber them in magnitudes. Those police are finding out that there's a lot more of us than there are of them. Imagine if we were well armed. On June 13th, Chaz changed to CHOP. This was Shannon McMenamy's personal post on X. Quote, the O is now for organized rather than occupied. To the citizens of the district, your current chief legal counsel once led the Puget Sound John Brown Gun Club, the same gun club that held a remembrance march for a deceased domestic terrorist by the name of Willem van Spronsen after firebombing an ICE detention center. And she led the same gun club while they provided armed security at the Chaz Chop. By maintaining Ms. McMenamy as general counsel after becoming aware of the information 7 months ago, it appears that your board members here agree with the pro-Second Amendment positions and politics of your legal counsel.
Thank you.
District support the pro-Second
Yeah.
Amendment and political views of your chief
Finish your sentence.
counsel.
All right. Technical difficulties. For some reason, I've been put out of the Teams meeting.
Yeah, the internet doesn't seem to be working over
Yeah,
here. Are you guys still on the internet?
Still on.
yeah.
I am.
While we're trying to deal with this technical problem, we could go ahead with the annual report on environmental sustainability.
Two.
Oh, sorry, still in public comment. Sorry. All right, let's go ahead with the public comments. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, this is a continuation of the public comment from March 20th. At that meeting, I supplied the school board with 3 emails, which I hope you actually took the time to read, which should have been extremely shocking, which entailed, well, frankly, very shocking behavior, negligence, malice. We're not sure what's going on there, but you should have read that so you'd actually find out. But I cited the illegality of behaviors of the school board or district or school or whatever your policies are. WAC 172A is special education law where you cannot not put appropriate resources in a child's IEP so that they're not successful, so that you don't have to fund it. And given the fact that it was revealed in the March 20th meeting that your disabled children with disabilities are failing in this district, sounds like a systemic problem that, who knows, sounds like the district's a crime scene, could turn into some class action lawsuit if all the children with disabilities are having issues. Second, as far as making fake CPS claims against families, that is also illegal and a misdemeanor crime according to RCW 26.44.060 Section 4. So I leave you to look that up yourself, and you should be aware of that. Now, let's move on to something else. With children with disabilities, there's a certain bigotry of low expectations if someone has an IEP label. However, Joseph, who spoke at the last meeting, who will be speaking after me, has proven even though you have a disability, that doesn't mean you're not brilliant, and frankly, should be cheered on and recognized by the school board and by the district for the unique things that he has accomplished. So at this point, I'm going to invite Joseph to come up here and in 2 minutes present a presentation he did on an experiment he
thank
did
you.
in April
Thank you.
April 8th, 2024 for the total eclipse. Come on, Joseph.
Just give me a sec to get to the right page. All right, there it is. I'm good. So, I did this presentation on on eclipses. I skipped ahead to the total part because the whole time issue. But basically, I went through research, simplifications, more research. Oh yeah, total solar eclipses. This is April 8th, 2024. You know, that's not long before my birthday. It basically says total solar eclipses happen when the moon lines up in just the right way to block out the sun's light. Then you can see something not many people get to see, the corona, a disk of orbiting dust and gas that didn't quite make it into the sun.
Tell them about your experiment.
I ran an experiment. It was so there's this I used the camera my dad had. He got a special lens that made it so when you looked at it through that, you could look at the sun with that through the camera, and it wouldn't burn your eye, as well as wouldn't ruin the camera. That's all I really have time for, but
Tell them about this
I
part.
can't. I don't have time.
Don't you want to tell them about the experiment?
Now, where'd that thing go?
It's
A little lost. There it is. Here. I ran through a ton of math to figure out how big a solar prominence I saw was compared to the diameter of the Earth and the Sun. I think it was roughly 2.5 Earths wide.
Thank you. Okay. All right. We finished public comment. And now it's time for the annual report on environmental sustainability.
Okay, good evening, school board directors and Superintendent Dr. Aramaki. I'm Eva Collins, Deputy Superintendent in the Bellevue School District, and I've had the privilege of working with the Bellevue School District Sustainability Committee for the past 2 years. And as you know, the committee includes staff members, family members, community members, and also a large number of students that are involved on that committee. And our students really have led the way, bringing our sustainability plan to life and bringing their passion and creativity to that work. And so tonight you'll hear from some of those students as they about our progress on the sustainability plan. This is just an update, not our summative report. But I'd like to take a moment just to recognize 3 of our leaders of the committee. We have 3 co-leads this year. Randy Litzenberger, he is an exceptional educator at Bellevue High School and advocate for sustainability. And you may recall that he was instrumental in bringing forward the sustainability policy and in engaging his students. I think he really exemplifies the district value and priority of student voice and agency. Soraya Arjamand is a student leader who has brought tremendous energy and vision to this committee. She's incredibly talented and a natural leader, and she pushes our thinking, and she really has the ability to bring people along in collective action. And then Vicki Salazar, whose partnership and expertise has helped guide our work, and she's been meeting pretty much weekly, I think, in the evenings with one of our subgroups. She also leads high school students who are doing internships with the Environmental Protection Agency. So, and then finally, I want to just throw in a thanks to Sam Gunnarsson. She's our project manager, and she's not here tonight, but she does a lot of work keeping us on track. So thank you very much, and we're excited to get started and sharing with you.
Good evening, members of the school board. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak with you today. We are grateful to be here and share our work and progress as part of the Sustainability Committee. Next slide. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Our Sustainability Planning Committee centers around 3 key groups: our students, our staff, and our community. We highly value student engagement in both identifying challenges and designing solutions as they bring unique perspectives and ideas that drive our mission forward. As a result, most of our team and sub-leads consist of students. Our staff are also essential partners in implementing sustainable practices and helping integrate our goals into daily activities. And of course, the support and involvement of parents and community members are crucial for fostering a culture of sustainability across the district. The policy we created last year and continue to build upon this year is grounded in 3 main pillars: district resources, environmental safety, and collective understanding and student voice. District resources looks at transportation, nutrition, and resources. Environmental safety focuses on emergency response and preparedness, and collective understanding and student voice emphasizes student engagement and leadership across initiatives. These core aspects drive our work and shape the goals we have created. Now we will look at each topic in more detail.
Hello, my name is Soraya Ajman. I wanted to talk about the district resources and our improvements within it. So for Bellevue and Interlake High Schools, we have reduced energy use with LED lights. We have secured funding for our first electric bus. We have replaced styrofoam and single-use plastics with compostable alternatives in cafeterias. And we have also launched the Lean and Green program, which introduces more plant-based meal options.
Hello, my name is Maria Basiuni. I'm going to be presenting about the environmental safety update. So for the environmental safety preparedness plan, the Safety and Security Department staff have helped the city's steering committee regarding the drafting of the hazard mitigation plan. The draft is pending community input and is anticipated to be adopted by the city of Bellevue during this summer. For the enhanced emergency response training, we have not started developing that yet, but it will be tied to the emergency planning effort I mentioned before. And for the planning for relief centers, we haven't started that either. But although some schools were used for this purpose during the bomb cyclone storm, and evaluation and development of a plan will begin in next year.
Hi, I'm Dia Putha, and I'm going to be speaking to the collective understanding and student voice pillars of our plan. So just for a more in-depth overview, collective understanding focuses on ensuring that all district staff, students, administrators, and all members in general are empowered with the knowledge to make a change in their personal lives as well as their respective communities. And then student voice focuses on bringing, once students have a base level of understanding and knowledge, empowering them to have a more significant voice in the change and initiatives that the district wants to bring about. So you'll see a lot of examples of collective understanding initiatives in the next few slides. And this committee itself is a fantastic example of student voice, as you can see that myself and many of my fellow presenters are students, and we are given an equal, if not amplified voice in committee discussions. So I can speak to my personal experience on the board. I feel like I've gained so much knowledge and met so many great people. But on top of that, I've also gained an opportunity to learn how to utilize my voice better and share my ideas in a way that everyone can understand. So if you can go to the next slide. So now we're going to be speaking to some of those aforementioned initiatives that really feed those pillars 3 and 4. So starting with Earth Month, as you all know, like this April is Earth Month 2025. And we saw that as a great opportunity to highlight some of the initiatives that have already been going on, as well as to bring about some new extracurricular efforts in schools. So we sought to deploy this in 4 phases. The first being sort of teasers, letting schools know about this aspect of the plan and establishing this as a base for which to launch future initiatives in the month of April. Then the second phase sort of involved having people, once we came back from spring break, look at lessons and activities in schools. And then the final phase will be launching next week, and that will be just the culmination of this whole project with a spirit week of sorts in high school. That's the format that we're looking at. So having a bunch of activities and educational opportunities, which Miriam will go further into.
So to celebrate Earth Day, we planned a district-wide Spirit Week filled with engaging, eco-friendly activities, and participating schools can choose to follow the suggested order, or mix it up as they see fit. So our blueprint includes kicking off the week with a district-wide competition for campus cleanup, which the school with the highest turnout percentage will be recognized through BSD media. Day 2 is Garden and Planting Day, which encourages everyone to start planting at home using donated seed packets. Day 3 will be Turn Out the Lights Day or TOLD, and Day 4 features a district-wide environmental impact survey. Day 5 is Take Action Day, which encourages carpooling or walking to school, as well as giving donations or volunteering with environmental organizations. And all these activities aim to inspire lasting environmental awareness within the community.
Now I'd like to share an overview of our School Improvement Plan subgroup. This team works to identify key focus areas and opportunities for improvements across all schools within our district. Based on our findings, we develop structured guidelines that outline minimum actions and additional recommended actions that schools can adopt to enhance performance in each area. Our subgroup is organized into 4 core categories: energy, food, waste, and transportation. For each of these, we propose realistic, impactful initiatives that schools can implement to conserve energy, reduce food waste, minimize overall waste, and encourage more sustainable transportation methods. This could include engaging activities like an art competition, Name the Electric Bus contest, or various awareness campaigns. As a current high schooler, I believe these opportunities are very valuable to build student support and engagement while creating an enjoyable atmosphere for everyone. Our next steps for the subgroup include finalizing the logistics needed to effectively promote and implement these initiatives district-wide.
I'm going to be talking about our social media subgroup. So Sam Gunnarsson and I are the leads for that. And this year we have created a social media account at BSD Sustainability to highlight all the sustainability work we do in the district. And we just had a podcast about our sustainability committee come out. Another big part of our committee has been doing the Sustainability Earth Month art contest, which was a district-wide art contest to showcase what you think sustainability is for Earth Month. And at our next meeting, we're going to have a display of all the artwork there. So that was just a big moment we saw where we can see that K through 12 can be involved in sustainability. And we saw a lot of student engagement with that.
A fact to follow from all these great student voices. And I hope that tonight, as they've shared a little bit about what we've been up to, you've also been impressed with the students themselves, because these are our young leaders. They've done terrific work throughout the course of the year. And I've been privileged to be able to work with each and every one of them in different capacities. My name is Randy Litzenberger. I teach at Bellevue High School. And very kind words and introduction by Eva Collins. I thank you for that. Tonight, I want to finish here in terms of next steps and kind of what we're looking for in terms of the future. We certainly have done a lot of great work this year, but it's meant to be foundational. We hope to continue this work next year, certainly in the form of the school improvement plan work that we've really just gotten started. My partner, Vicki Salazar, has done phenomenal work in getting us going in that regard, helping the schools understand the directive that we got from Dr. Aramaki earlier this year about making sure there's a sustainability component in each of the school SIP plans. We're well underway with that. We want to be able to continue with it. As well, for Earth Month, what we're doing next week, as was pointed out here earlier, is very exciting. We hope to continue to build on that next year too. And some of the work that I've been doing here for it with helping steer Earth Month and then thinking about partnerships beyond, we've been really privileged to establish partnerships with the city of Bellevue, which is presented to some of our groups. They're doing some work. They were just out at Bellevue High School today for some of their work and making pieces visible, orca cards for students and the like. As we go forward with it, over 150 orca cards were passed out during our 2 school lunches, which is exciting. And we hope to go further than that too. Partnerships with groups like Sustainability Ambassadors, a nonprofit that does terrific curricular work. That's work that exists in our high schools now, particularly at Bellevue High School and also others. And we hope to establish future partnerships beyond that. We're working on a couple things we're not ready to share yet with the board, but we hope to be able to at a future date. We thank you for your support. We know that as we enter next year, we're going to be facing a time where we're facing budget priorities and circumstances. I believe that this work is something that is important enough that we would ask for your continued support in that capacity. And it also does something else. It makes Bellevue visible to the rest of our state and to our community. Bellevue is a place that has outsized influence. I've said that before to this board. And I think in sustainability, the work that you authorized back with Policy 6811 2 years ago, and where we have been over the last 2 years in developing that, bringing that forward with goals and making that ambition possible, that makes our district visible to the rest of the state in a way that I think helps us and certainly furthers the goals that these students have here for a more sustainable future. We thank you for your time tonight.
So now it is time for the board to have any comments that would like to, or further questions. So who would like to go first? Okay, Director Black.
I want to say thank you, particularly Vicki Salazar and Litzenberger for volunteering your time to help lead these groups. It's really great to have you, and to all you students, it's really great to see you. I know I've been a participant in the working groups on and off, not as much recently as I'd like to be, but I see there's a meeting coming up next week. It's really great to see all of your engagement. One of the biggest challenges with environmental initiatives is that they need to stay evergreen. And so one of the challenges that I would love to hear your perspectives on, I'm going to have a couple of questions, but one of the ones that I have is, how do we make sure that we keep the community of students coming in and that we keep these being exciting and innovative things that you want to participate in moving forward? How do we make sure that the middle school students and the next group of leaders behind you also rises up and thinks that this is a great thing to take part in? One of the biggest challenges of any environmental initiative is to show the progress. And I know that that's part of our reporting. I think the Instagram and social media stuff is a great start. I hope that everybody will add that to their Instagram reel. I think, Dr. Aramaki, you might have the most active Instagram reel of our whole team here. So it's a great tool to promote some of the activities that are going on and to make sure that we're touching all the different campuses. I know Bellevue High School is somewhat overrepresented on the group, but we're also making sure that this is a district-wide initiative, that this isn't just focused on one site or one place. I do want to touch just briefly on the electric bus initiative. It is something we're very excited about. It's a pilot initiative. So we're going to learn a lot from that first bus. We're very fortunate to get a grant to fund the acquisition of that bus. We need to learn a lot before we roll that out. We're at a very early stage of understanding how we can best use those in the district, and we're excited to engage in that, but we also recognize that that's going to have a lot of different lessons, and we want to put it through a lot of different parts of the district so we can understand how we can best use electric buses. A lot of people think that there might still be a place for the conventional diesel buses in some parts of our district, but we think that there's an opportunity to bring electric buses into other parts of the district, which I'm excited about personally. Thank you all. And I do want to hear from some of the students if you guys have ideas of how to make sure this is evergreen and something that we can keep recruiting the next generation of students to.
Okay, so the challenge is to kind of keep track of what each board. So when it's your turn to answer, you'll sort of answer in a batch of what we
have time to think about it.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. So who would like to go next from the board? Okay.
It's amazing to see the passion and the commitment that you have for environmental sustainability. I am proud of your work ensuring a livable planet for future generation. That is amazing. This is a perfect example for a project-based learning, where students, you can improve critical thinking, you boost engagement and collaboration, and you can connect with real life. I want to encourage the district to continue to prioritize student-led projects. With this project, BSD is not only caring about and protecting about our planet, but also saving utility costs that go to general funds. And in this moment, we appreciate that a lot. So thank you for working also on that. I really like is a district-wide project. that impacts all the schools and also central office. It's a brilliant idea to have the sustainability goals in our school improvement plans. This is the only way to bring consistency across the district, and that is very important for us. Thanks for developing a district guidance, sharing resources with our schools, making sustainability at BSD simple and effective. That is going to help a lot the schools. Thank you for that. Please remember, this is more an inspirational than a mandatory project. So bringing technical solution is great. But the most important thing is bringing adaptive solutions. Bringing sustainability awareness is going to be key. For the communication piece, I have a couple of advices. Please, I recommend you to contact Barry Silva, our amazing social media specialist, and he can give you a lot of keys how to raise a little bit your followers in Instagram. Right? And partner also with the PTSA, with the principals that they can share all your events and news in their newsletters. It's brilliant also to integrate topics into our curriculum. Although I am a little bit worried because maybe next year we are not going to have so many curriculum developers. So I would like to know and be sure that that is not going to impact in this amazing project to add. Okay. Okay.
Okay, good.
Sorry, I am
Are-
new, so yeah.
Yeah. All right, Director Webster?
So I am very impressed with this group, and I'm just so appreciative of you coming and sharing your voices with us and your commitment to making our building spaces more sustainable. So thank you. I have a couple of questions that came up as you all were speaking. I'm just going to get right to it. I do wonder about the Earth Week, the Spirit Week. Is this going to be something that's going to be yearly? I'd love to see that be an annual thing that we consider. But aside from that, I wanted to also speak about what Director Block spoke about around making sure that we are allowing students an opportunity to engage in the future. And I really love the idea of the student-led initiatives and wonder if there are any plans to collaborate with some of our elementary school sustainability committees like SOAP, who came and did a great presentation with us some time ago, especially around some of the food nutrition categories, because I know there's some great work happening in the individual building spaces around just reducing food waste and recycling, and maybe connecting with them might help with the lift. So wanted to mention that. One of the other things that I've been thinking about around transportation, where there might be some opportunities to combine sustainability with safety and education, made me think about perhaps offering some bike safety classes or a cheat sheet, for students who are walking to school. Best practices, maybe at the beginning of the school year can be available to families in the building spaces. So I thought about that. And then the other thing that I thought about, and this was a very long time ago when I was in elementary school, were walking school buses. So I know that some schools have I think you mentioned that you have the day where kids are going to be walking to school, but like the walking school buses, like I just remember having so much fun walking with, other adults and other kids. And so just wondering if we were having any conversations about maybe incorporating some of that into the conversation. And then the last thing, and I'm going to go really quickly on this one, over the last couple of weeks, this is with regard to the bike lanes and the bus lanes, walking and bike lanes, but specifically the bike lanes. I've noticed that there's an increase in those being used for power wheelchairs or electric wheelchairs. And I thought about additional considerations around what I assume are typical things that the city thinks about around like smooth surfaces and ramps when they're designing the lanes. I know that there's going to be some conversations with the city around this. And I just want to make sure that there will be adequate rerouting signage and maybe some additional rest stops that are going to be incorporated into the conversation and clearly displayed for folks who might need to utilize those modalities. So I just want to make sure that we're having that conversation with the city as we're moving forward. And I'm right on time. Thank you.
Director Aris? Would you like to?
Thanks. Yes,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, I want to start with thank you to the panel, the students, and Randy and Vicky, who I appreciate your passion and your dedication working with our students and creating that space for them to really step up. And to the students who did this work, kudos to you. I really appreciate you going above and beyond and trying to make an impact. And I do want to say a great job to the district for taking a step to a different, or I should say, walking to a different tune. Traditionally, we do policy and we have procedure, and my understanding based upon a Monday that we're doing it a different way, which is letting students be part of the procedure and helping create that. And and this sounds amazing. I appreciate all the things that you've already achieved. I love, just like Director Webster has said, the Earth Month, the Earth Week ideas. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to just say, when my son, who is now 28, at his school, they did garbage pickup. They were given little rewards for doing that. And I have to say that still had a huge impact, because when we go hiking and he sees garbage, he picks it up and just out of habit. And so I appreciate you bringing these things back and putting some emphasis on it. It does have a long-lasting impact. And I'm going to say that same child is now working on in DC and trying to pass bills to make greater differences. And it does, all these things do add up. I'm curious on what made you step up to do this work. Right? And it would be great for you to be able to share that with, I think, the larger body of students and parents. What motivated you and what's keeping you going? And what are your hopes at the end? With that in mind, kind of reflecting back to, I think, what Director Block, I can't remember which director said it, which is, how are you going to keep this, Director Block, evergreen, how are you going to keep the moving with the future generation? And I'm curious if you have thought about mentoring under or younger students in the high school or middle school or so on. I know in robotics, and I'm in robotics at World Championship right now because I mentor. And so that's one of the initiatives they do. It's to how do you perpetuate and how do you share the joy and the love? I'm curious to know, how are you going to share your joy and love of this subject with others?
Thank you. Okay. And now it's going to be my turn. And I'll just say, it's great, whatever, what I mean is, I kind of second what many of the other board members have said, but I was really appreciate this report because it's impressive how many different areas you got into, all the different, you're thinking about lunch and thinking about teachers and how their professional development might go and what they might teach, and safety plans, and what can facilities do, and what is the curriculum going to be like. And I also really appreciate the answers that we got back. We asked on Monday, and I don't know who on the team brought the answers, but thinking about the relief centers, and I asked who was going to wash the dishes if we went to, like solid trays and things, and I found out we had some dishwashers, some like electric dishwashers or whatever they are, and then the air quality, which has been a huge concern of mine, and relief centers when we have these terrible smoke events, how we're going to wrap in the professional development, the earthwork. I'll get back to that, but I asked, how are we going to do these lessons around lunch? And then I found that oh, there might be some gardens and some worm composting. So I love the way this is so concrete and I can really understand what we're talking about here. I have one odd question. There was something in the responses about using some island wood curriculum in secondary or something like that. And I don't think any of you were probably here for the great island wood controversies of, I don't know, maybe a decade ago. And it wasn't, everyone thought island wood was great, but the controversy was who gets to go to island wood and who doesn't. I don't know if that pertains or if you're just using curriculum from them or somebody going there, I don't know. I will say about keeping the enthusiasm going. I hope you will with your social media and all that and sort of pass the torch to the new kids coming in and so forth, hopefully enlisting some parents. And the reason why I say that is that we did a big Earth Day thing when my kid was in elementary school at Stevenson Elementary, like a whole day. We wrapped like this walkathon around it. So it was like a Earth Day fundraiser, but we made like reusable sliced pieces of log to make the name tags and all kinds of great stuff. And then the volunteer who really liked that left, and then it didn't keep going. So, so that's kind of a cautionary tale that we really want to keep it going. But thank you for all this work and this information. Now it's time that if you wanted to respond to anything that was said, and I'm particularly interested in Director Aris's thing about what got you into this work.
I wonder if Neil wants to say something about middle school and and how you.
Oh yeah. So for me, well, I have a story about how I became really involved into sustainability, and it all started like when I heard on the news and everything about things like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and all this like islands of waste in the ocean and all these landfills across the world and how they're like really impacting our environment, you know? And I was like, my family originally, we really cared about how we're putting the papers and the recycling and our peels and the compost. And my parents were really particular about this. But then I started really asking about like what's happening after they go into these recycling and compost and garbage, you know? And then how are they ending up in these landfills, you know? So that led me to just a lot of research, and I found out that only like 15% of our recycling is actually being recycled because of many difficulties. And I became really curious about how we could try to solve this, and that led me to finding committees and groups like the Bellevue School District Sustainability Committee. It's really easy to join it, and now I'm here, right? And so this committee is really like the right place for me. I feel like it's we do a lot to start by making change in our community. That's where change starts, right? We can't make worldwide change if we don't start improving our community and making it a more sustainable place. And additionally, this is the only option because there's no other option. I don't know about going to live in Mars or the moon, but it sounds really abstract. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. Earth is the green and blue planet, you know? It's where life started. I think if we can really make this a better place, that's the main option that we have right now. And we're doing a lot, you know? So I'd like to also address Director Block's question about how we can make sure that our generations don't run out of our momentum and our steam. You know, like I've been trying to convince people in my like I go to Odell Middle School. Our green team is improved, like it's growing day by day. I believe that having events and advertising is the way that we can do this, and we are trying to, because we're a passionate group of people, spread the word about all these events that we're planning in this committee to make more people join it and spread awareness about these things. And I feel like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? We're not doing this because we want to make ourselves like the center of it, but we have to really fight as a team to make a difference, right? So that's what I think, and that's why I'm passionate about sustainability.
Thank you, Neil. Randy, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just briefly. And I think one of the questions that came up in terms of that evergreen point from Director Block and was iterated elsewhere too. How do we perpetuate the enthusiasm? I think you're seeing it on display here right now. We have Interlake, Bellevue High School, and then also Little Middle School represented this small gathering of students. And I think that that's for our work in year one to be able to have a reasonably broad cross section that we intend to grow, that we intend to perpetuate and to bring and grow laterally in that as well and bring other schools on board with it. I think you're going to see that go forward. What I've found is that in my teaching at Bellevue High, which is one building, of course, in the district. But if you put out a little bit in terms of the information, an opportunity for PBL, an opportunity to be able to do this work, to engage with entities that are local government, not only do kids not know that's possible, but they get really excited about it. They get animated about it. Students come out of the woodwork like the leaders that you're seeing here very quickly. And suddenly you have all this energy and enthusiasm that's there. So I'm bullish on our prospects to be able to perpetuate this in an evergreen manner. I think we can do that as long as we continue to provide this direction with this committee's existence. We'll see that work, I think, come very quickly to us.
Thank you. So I also, first off, I wanted to say the students of this district are pretty phenomenal. And I work with students from right across the country. And most of the time I work with college students. And every single one of these students is right up there with all of the college students I work with. So I just first want to compliment to all of them. And then I want to talk a little bit about like this, how do we keep it going? Because I agree with you completely that the challenge isn't having one event. The challenge is having the marathon and winning that marathon over the long period of time. And so all of the subcommittees have really thought about how to continue this work. And it really needs to be a partnership between the people who are engaging and working at the schools and with the students, and then the commitment of the district and the board to doing these things at the district level. Because there's some things that can't be controlled at the school level. They have to be controlled at the district level. And so, but within the ability to create the momentum, we have been talking about how do we continue to have student leadership when we know students, they graduate and they go on and do wonderful things. And so how do we, have those older students mentor the younger students? And I think it was just today we were talking about having like a junior senior as part of the leadership team. And so expanding that leadership team so that there's always someone coming up behind. One of the things that the students in the SIP group talked about was really leveraging the green teams and making sure that they had a role in the implementation in the schools, and that those green teams oftentimes are kind of those older kids mentoring the younger kids within the team. So anyway, so I don't know, was that me? No, that wasn't me I thought I was getting buzzed out, right? So anyway, there is a lot of thinking about that. And then I also just want to say that the leadership that we've had from Eva and her continued kind of support of this over 2 years has been critical. And and we heard earlier today that they have identified somebody. And I just really want to compliment the district for having done that this far in advance. I mean, usually you get that somebody gets assigned like 3 months after the person left, not 3 months before. So anyway, so there is a lot of thinking and there's a lot more to be done. And so we really appreciate the board's support and all the engagement of the students.
Yes, something you're doing with elementary students.
I'd like to really quickly just point out a lot of the work we're doing, like as I mentioned, with identifying like minimum actions and additional actions that schools can do, they can't just be done with staff, teachers, or like the principal. A lot of it does require student like knowledge and awareness, because if students don't really know about this, then you technically made like zero progress. And so, right, like with the electric bus, just having any small way that students can become aware or know more about this. As I said earlier, name the electric bus contest. Like it's just a fun way students know about what's happening so that if they are interested, they do have ways to get involved. Additionally, like our horticulture at Interlake is now providing lettuce, which we're getting at lunch. And I think that deserves like more kudos and just awareness. And it's really important to bring attention to this because I see a lot of student interest in, my high school and then also my middle and elementary school where I grew up. And so I think there is definitely a lot of potential for student engagement. And with the work we're doing, we're definitely trying to connect students to what the rest of the district and buildings are working on.
Like, I totally agree with this. There's a lot of potential. There's a huge amount of potential because right now what's happening is because if the if the Bellevue community does not know what we're doing and how they can help us do it, and the goal that we're trying to achieve by doing this, and there's nothing then whatever we're doing is not going to be achieving anything. Like, we have to spread the word and emphasize these things, these small things that we're doing, and make sure that everybody in the community knows about that so that they can do that in their everyday lives. If they don't know what the sustainability committee is doing, if the Bellevue School District is doing to address sustainability concerns, then they're not going to know how they can help, how they can join their local green teams, and how they can do things in their day-to-day lives and change things in their habits to make an impact on our world, you know?
Just one more point to kind of echo some of what Neil's talking about. And the awareness piece comes into education in a really powerful way. And I think some of the partnerships we've had in the district as well, with what we've had from Wendy Ware at Nutrition Services, with what we've had from Jack McLeod in terms of all those pieces for facilities, there's no more powerful instrument as a teaching tool than the facilities that we're in every day. And I've gotten on my to-do list to thank Jack for steering me towards one of his associates who came to me today during lunch at Bellevue High and talked about some of the PV installations that are going to be happening in the near term for Bellevue school districts beyond what we've already done. That message to students about not only is this important curricularly, but you're seeing it happen in our district. We're putting the funds towards that from our capital budget. That's big stuff. That's really powerful. You see kids light up when they see that we're leading the way on that, and they want to be part of it. I think that's how you perpetuate enthusiasm too.
Thank you.
Did we miss anybody's comment? Okay. We have like 5 minutes left in this portion of the agenda. So I'm just going to ask if any of the board members have some, or the superintendent has some final comments about this. Anybody? No?
I'll just have the one comment that feedback is one of those things that's constantly found to be really important for environmental initiatives. For them to be able to propose actions, to see the benefit of those actions, and for it not to be just, taken away and done in the background, that we can be public about the reporting of where we are successful. I saw some of the comments on the energy use at a couple of the buildings was dropped dramatically. LEDs, which you mentioned, was one of the tools that we used to do that. Showing students and our community how we can be successful in these environmental initiatives, which save us money, which save us resources, and show the benefits of the engagement and the action by our student and community leaders, is one of the critical tools we have.
I'm just going to say thank you for this work, because I do truly believe that this is one of the most important problems that our world is facing right now. So thank you for that.
I just want to say, I hope we do the name the electric bus. I think that'd be fun.
Dr. Aramaki? No.
Sure, just a couple closing comments. I just feel super proud. I mean, this whole meeting, I feel this sense of pride because I think my hope as a superintendent is not that we launch students to become successful and make a lot of money, although there's nothing necessarily wrong with that as an end. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and I do hope that you make money. But I think my hope is always that we send kids off from Bellevue to make a difference for people and planet. Like, that's people and planet. That whatever your field is, whether you're going into the military or you're going to environmental science or you're going to work for a company here, that you're thinking about ways to make things better for people and better for the planet. And I just feel so much hope today. I mean, it's really incredible because I think what's happening here is the board works really hard to put out like policies. They don't always like lead to exciting things. I mean, no offense, but it's like we have policies about everything, it's like about this or about that. But to see a policy actually drive this amount of like student engagement and interest and passion is so cool. I mean, it is really amazing. And then I think on top of that, Randy, I mean, I've told you this before, he's one of the best teachers in the Bellevue School District, and just works so hard to teach kids well, but to inspire students. I mean, it takes amazing teachers, Vicky, amazing community members, Eva Collins, our deputy superintendent. I mean, she's got a lot of stuff. She's overseeing all of operations and all of instruction right now, but she carves out all this time So adults who are passionate about it, working with students, and then the students, I mean, we can't even keep up with you. I was talking to Wendy, our director of nutrition services, about all this work around meatless options, and the board was getting a little concerned that maybe like, are we not going to have any meat ever again? But she's like, the students are like pushing for all the, like, they really want us to increase meatless options because the students know the impact of meat on the environment. And so I'm just like, it is awesome. This is just so incredible. And I'm so thankful. And with Jack, who oversees our facilities and operations, I mean, our buildings, I mean, he also, as an adult in the system, is pushing and pushing and pushing for environmentally sustainable buildings. And so I just want to close by saying, just listening to you guys, seeing you here, I mean, to see students who are caring about things outside of themselves is super inspiring. Today is, I mean, this is like our dream come true for what we're trying to accomplish in the school district. So thank you for being here.
And I think with that mention of policies, I'd be remiss if I didn't credit former director Seema Sarafan, who 2 years ago did the first draft of the sustainability policy for us. Okay, so now it's time for the sustainability report to end.
I'm sorry, but I do feel like we should take a picture.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah. All right, so now we're going on to board business, the award of the architect contract for the Interlake High School Master Plan and Addition. And we'll start off with an introduction by staff.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Jack McLeod, Executive Director, Facilities Operations.
It does have that first.
Okay.
There. Here, let me do this. My apologies, directors. It doesn't look like the slides have the most up-to-date agenda item. There's an item 7.1, which is a quick overview of the 2020 bond at your request from last Monday. And then Jack will go to the architecture award for Interlake High School, if that's okay. My apologies.
Okay, we're going to start through our our director of capital projects, Cindy King, and I worked on this after our meeting Monday afternoon to try and do a current recap. At least it'll frame kind of the whole situation coming up with Interlake in terms of where we're at with bond funds. So basically, in 2020, the voters approved a $675 million bond to fund renovations, upgrades, and construction of new replacement schools and educational service centers. Bellevue Big Picture School Rebuild, the International School Rebuild, Jingmai Elementary School Rebuild, Newport High School upgrades, and Interlake High School upgrades. Following school consolidations, Big Picture School was selected to relocate to the former Eastgate Elementary location. An addition and full renovation of existing spaces is underway, including a new science wing and commons. Selected demo will begin this month with completion scheduled for fall of 2026. The original project budget for the bond measure was $120 million. The adjusted total project budget is $70 million by reutilizing the Eastgate site. This is just a architectural rendering of the Big Picture school looking from the field in the south parking lot. So it's going to have a whole different facade to it. This is the commons area. And again, to change the structure of the school to a more secondary focus as opposed to the elementary. This is to take the exterior courtyard that was open and convert it to a enclosed area for a library multi-use type space. Sorry, I got to keep up. International School will receive a full tear down and replacement at its existing location, including a new performing arts center. Ed specs, educational specifications. The first step in the design process is currently underway. Construction is slated to begin in the fall of 2027, with completion in the fall of 2029. Total project budget for this project is $130 million. The Newport High School addition and renovation, which is currently underway. The multi-phase project will add new athletic facilities, general and CTE classrooms, commons, music upgrades, new stadium concessions. Construction began in 2022 with completion scheduled for the spring of 2026. Total project budget is $140 million. An aerial photograph of the current gymnasium area and the CTE classroom wing in the foreground. Interlake High School is also included to do master planning, which is a process of listening to students, staff, and the community, and will begin soon, addressing the many needs of the campus. Once complete, design will begin on prioritized projects. Start of the construction is still to be determined. Total project budget is $100 million. This is kind of an overview of where we were at with that $675 million bond authorization by the voters in 2020 of $675 million. What we've added here is each of those projects that I identified and the budget that we had set for those. And then to be able to go ahead and after we sell bonds to do all of those projects, Newport, Big Picture, International, Interlake, we would have $235 million left on that. And that would be unsold bonds. And so again, one of the other aspects of the bond measure in 2020 was the inclusion of central facilities, replacement of our central offices or modernizations of or whatever. So there was also funds included for that as well as a number of other types of projects. So at any rate, that is the current status of where things are at. Again, right now, basically Newport High School and a little bit of expense for Big Picture are out of the bonds that were sold. So we still have a significant number of bonds that have to be sold to go ahead and do these projects that we've identified. So I kind of sprung that one on you, so I don't know if you have questions or you want to talk about that now or roll it into the Interlake or.
What do you? Yeah, we'll just keep going and then we'll do all the questions.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we're going to talk about Interlake.
Right. And Interlake was also included here to develop a master plan. So I'm here to get award of contract for Huttable and Aramis architecture in the amount of $250,000. And yes, you heard 250,000, so it is in the millions like you usually are for these projects. And this is because the master plan is a smaller component. And what we're trying to do is really determine what are the needs that Interlake has. And we know we hear they have a lot of them. And so what we want to try to do is kind of sort out which are the ones that we really need to do, what are the priorities, what are the have to haves and what are the nice to haves and the types of things there. And then we will be able to go ahead and put together a architectural budget, which will identify the maximum allowable construction costs, which will be the basis for the larger component of their contract. And we shortlisted 3 firms in March 31st and going through a selection process by representatives from Interlake High School and also the facilities staff. We selected Huttable Aramis Architecture to carry this project forward. And even though Huttable Aramis has not worked for us before, several of the architects that are on the firm now have done quite a bit of work for the district. And so it seems to be a good match, and they come in with a lot of enthusiasm. And one of the principal in charge of Huttable Aramis is a former Interlake grad. And anyway, so it's a kind of a coming home for his opportunity. So that's basically the award of contract that we were looking to have, the $250,000 for master planning.
Okay, so now it's time for some comments or questions from the board. And I see Director Webster has her hand up.
Thank you, Jack, so much. So I noticed that we have several items on the list here, and just based on what you just shared, I just want to make sure that I understand. So have we captured all of the needs of the repairs and upgrades that are needed for the school? Because it sounds like there might have been some things that we're not going to address. And then the second question that I had, as I'm looking at the plans here for like the addition of the new classroom wing, a new space for the STEM robotics, and an additional admin space, office space, and a small group testing space for our IB program. I'm just wondering if there are any thoughts around making any of these designs like versatile or adaptable spaces that can support like multiple things, multiple activities, collaborative projects, or even some, independent studies. So those are just a couple of questions that I had.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a good question, and certainly I know that's an interest that the staff at Interlake have, because we've heard a lot of these things informally that have come through other kinds of opportunities for capital funding on different things to provide these types of spaces within the existing school. And this is one of the reasons that we wanted to proceed with a master plan, is to be able to look at all the different components, but also then build those into the design of the school, and making sure that we don't build something in one place today and 2 years from now we're going, wait a minute, this is in the way of something else. And so that's why we're doing the master plan, to make sure we can have a cohesive solution to the problems that they want to have taken care of. And so robotics and applied engineering, for an example, that's a very important component. And one of the things that was addressed specifically in the 2020 bond measure is for those type of spaces at each of the high schools. And so there's just a lot of opportunities here to do some things. We have some ADA things that we know we need to do at Interlake. that were not done due to the value engineering and things like that that happened during the 2003 through 5 project at Interlake. So there are a lot of things out there that we want to be able to address that are going to give them more flexibility. And again, looking ahead is we don't know what education is necessarily going to look like, but we know it's going to look a lot different than it does today and when Interlake was last remodeled. So
Okay.
we want to make sure we're
Okay,
preventing that.
we're going to have the other 4 directors ask their questions, and then you can do a batch at the end.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
We don't have much time, so
yeah. So who's next on of the directors with questions? Don't everybody raise their hands at once. All right,
Nice.
Director Block.
So this, I'll just say that from my perspective, the approach that you're proposing makes a lot of sense. I've appreciated all the work you've done in the district with all the schools, but it's particularly challenging to do one of these rehab upgrades to a school and to make it feel like one campus. And I think that that is a great interest. We don't want them to be like, oh, you're in the new wing, you're in the old wing. And I feel like that is something you understand, and that I hope we can make this in such a way that we integrate the school design. The other questions I have are around transportation planning. Transportation planning and architects are kind of different disciplines, and it strikes me that some of the needs that the current Interlake campus has are related to transportation. And I just want to make sure that we're including the right people to make sure that we're doing that. And if the architects don't have them on their staff, that they get the direction to bring them into the conversation so that we get that part of the conversation happening. The other 2 more questions. One is, my understanding is this will likely be kind of a construction while students are on campus. And so construction planning and staging is going to be like vitally important to figure out how to do that in such a way. And it'll be important to make sure that the administration is heavily involved in that process. And it may mean that some sports facilities or some parts of the building or parking area are not usable during some parts of the construction process. So just put that out there. The last thing is something that came up, and I'm anticipating that Director Aris might have a comment on this as well, is that some of these things on this list are not core educational services, and they have in the past sometimes been displaced when there is an educational need, when the school gets full or there's something else. And we need to be thoughtful about how we manage that process, because we have made some commitments to create horticulture and robotics and other things at this site. And that creates the expectation that they will be used for that purpose going forward. Thanks.
Okay, Director Aris or?
Sure.
Okay.
Since Director Block mentioned me, I think Director Block said it clearly, and I do appreciate that we have these elements included, robotics, horticulture, and all these other, that's not part of the main basic education, but enhanced, which is a value to our community. And as we, fluctuate in our student body, and the needs of various different elements of our system increases. I expressed this on Monday, that we make sure that when we do have these as part of our mission, or I should say vision of creating places that will help our students thrive, that they're actually used for that, for creating robotic space, that it's used, that the students don't feel that they're displaced, or if it is any other spaces that we're creating. And I don't know, Jack, that it is your, you have control, but I would like to make sure that as we proceed, that we're being honest and that we're being clear of, while we create, that the intentionality is carried through from build to actual use.
Okay.
That's it. Thanks.
Director Trias?
Thank you. The only left question that I have is about parking. Interlake. Do we have a plan? I know that Interlake, the parking is not one of the best.
It's a given because we know the challenges with parking there. So that's certainly something that's going to be on the list from the facilities people when the rest of the school gets together to talk about their needs. Because we have some other needs out there too that are, we feel equally as important.
Okay, it's my turn.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all right. It's just kind of funny. All right. So, so I just had, I'm glad you have this committee put together that's going to review like the different needs. And I just want to make sure we review for all the needs, like the nurse's office, the CTE people. There's all kinds of people I'm not even thinking of that have like very specific requirements for space. And then also reviewing for safety. I mean, I think some of the board members know that those interior balconies terrify me. I just think we're gonna have some kids roughhousing and somebody's gonna be catapulted over. So, I know the architects love them and they put them in the elementary schools and all over. And I guess since I've been saying that, at transitions, they put up plexiglass. So I was grateful, but it's just a little scary. And then also access. So like, as you know, at one of our high schools, Sammamish, it had the architect put in handicap spots and a path to get to a door where there'd be an elevator to go right up. And for safety, the principal has locked that door. So you're kind of put in a stuck spot if you need that. If you're, I guess, so anyway, so we want to think about not making sure the access is still there, even with safety and access balanced. And then the other thing is something that the superintendent can veto because it's highly operational, but I'm going to say it again because I've said it a few times and he forgets. I was across the street waiting to get let in the locked door when I saw a plaque on that building that listed the board members who had been on the board when that was built. And I thought, I'd like a plaque like that for all the board members on all the buildings that we built. So that was my request. I don't think it's a big budgetary hit. It's just a little plaque. But like for transitions, who was on the board when that was completed, who's going to be on the board when Interlake is completed. And I would, what? Welcome Center. I would like to go back in time because, as you know, we only get paid a small amount for expenses, and it would just be really nice if we could honor all the board members who have served. Okay. And he can veto if he doesn't like the expense.
I have followed up with Jack about
Okay.
that. So
Yeah. Do you want responses on some of these questions or just in general? Okay, I heard
Just in general,
transportation
Jack,
from
we don't have a
couple
whole lot of
board
time.
members. Well, I will on that one. On transportation, yeah, we hire a transportation specialist. In the case of Interlake and International, we're hiring Heffron, and they've done a number of other projects. So they specialize in going out and doing traffic counts, putting forth a traffic analysis, impact analysis to the city of Bellevue. That's a requirement. And so, yeah, point's well taken. We hire a specialist. The architects, they take care of a lot of things, but they can't take care of all of them. And so we make sure that, and we hire those people and they respond to us rather than the architect hiring. So we do our best on that. And along with the situation at Interlake with getting a transportation specialist involved in that is looking at how can we increase the circulation on the site rather than on the streets. That's part of the problem now, especially with Sherwood right across the street. So we're definitely in sync on that one. Phase construction, I mean, safety is a huge deal, and we don't have any place like Ringdale that we can put a full high school, so we have to do the phase occupied construction. And we're going through that now at Newport. And I will say that we're going through that fairly successfully, even though every time you do a project that way, you have to have how you can get the kids and staff around the school. That determines what the contractor is going to do first, second, third, and so on. Sometimes it's not always in the most efficient manner, but it's generally the safest. Let's see. As far as some of these specialized spaces, and so I've been doing this for quite a few years right now, and the reason I'm still sticking around to do a couple more, so I'm telling a little state's evidence here, but the board back when we started looking at bond measures, Steve Miller said, who's going to manage these projects that we're going to go ahead and get all this taxpayer money for? And I said, I'll be here to do it. He says, you mean all the way through? And at that time I says, yeah, all the way through. It seemed like a long time off, but anyway, so I'm still here. But the thing of it is I do have the memory of why some of these things are the way they are. And the other part of it is I've also taught vocational education and the rest of it. So some of these types of courses that have labs and special places are important for kids, every kid, regardless of what kind of a program we've got, IB, AP, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm kind of an advocate to make sure that we're giving kids a good comprehensive education all the way through the best way we can. And so I'm not going to let that one go. And the robotics in the last couple of years that we've been working with the STEMnasium and whatnot, and I've observed the robotics program firsthand. I'll tell you what, that just blew me away, the kind of stuff that was going on there. And we got to have those kinds of opportunities for kids that want it. And if that's what keeps the kid engaged in school, can't get any money better spent than that in my book. So anyway, that's just a little editorial comment. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Did I miss anything here in general? I don't know. I was writing as fast as I could. Oh, the plaques. Okay. We do a plaque on every project that has the board members and things like that on it. The only one that doesn't have one right now is Highland. And we put one at Highland. And when we got the whole thing all involved and that we did the dedication and everything like that, somebody called out our misspelling of a superintendent's name on that. And it was a brass cast plaque. And so we have that, and we are in the process of getting that one redone with the correct spelling so we can. If there's another one that's maybe out there, we'll look at it.
Been able to see them on all the schools, but I'll believe you that they're there. So we'll just have to go find them.
They are there.
And they're saying STEMnasium for some reason.
Okay.
And then I think we have to stop because
That's okay.
we're past time, although we always love talking about facilities. We just somehow do. Okay, we have no minutes left for director discussion, or maybe like 1 minute each. So
Watson.
We need a, do we need a?
oh, we need a vote. We need a vote for the architect. All right.
I move to award the contract for that's not what we're voting on, for Interlake School.
Right, the architect for Interlake.
Second.
Oh, yeah, the slide is not right.
Any discussion?
Just to be
okay.
clear, the slide isn't right. It
Yeah.
says international school, but
That
that's
was
not.
last time. I don't see anyone jumping to discuss. So let me call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstaining? No. Okay, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Now we have 3 minutes for director discussion. They're shaking, there's heads being shaken. 5, yeah. We have till 6:20 for director discussion, which gives us 3 minutes. Does anybody want to say something quick?
I'll take just a minute to say
Okay.
it was a real joy seeing Ivan. I was worked with him in Weeblos and in Cub Scouts way back when. So seeing him now as a high school senior and how he's grown was really awesome and amazing. It was fun to be able to see that he's going on to Naval Academy and all that. I don't think I've seen him since 8th grade. So it was really fun to see that and to watch these amazing people grow up and become amazing adults.
Okay, Director Aris put her hand up.
Yes, I need, I have to say, well, thank you for making the adjustment and letting me be here in Houston with our robotics teams, both Newport Energy and Sammamish Robototes. They're doing phenomenal. Just to kind of give you a little bit of peek of what it's like. There's about there's FL, FRC, and FTC, all three branches here. And just FRC alone, there's 600 students attending. It's crazy number of games. There's about 8. Think of if you attended the Sammamish robotics competition, think of that times 8 fields just for FRC. And it's been phenomenal. The energy is amazing. Our students are just incredible. Robototes won 4 out of the 5 matches today. They're problem solving on the go and doing great, all on very little sleep since we took a red eye here. And the group that I mentored, they're stepping it up. They learned that they could do better. There are certain things they could improve on, and they have literally been working nonstop since they've landed. And so to try to do the best.
Jade, you probably couldn't hear.
Oh, sorry, I don't see the timers. I can't tell.
Yeah. I know. All right, somebody's picked up their books and trying to leave, and I just wanted to have a turn. Marta.
I just want to take 1 minute to say how honored I am, and I cannot believe how lucky. I cannot be more excited to be part of this board, and how grateful I feel to belong to Bellevue School District.
And I just wanted to tell you all that first of all, I've participated for the first time in the Discipline Appeals Council, and I am so glad y'all have been doing it. It's just really hard work, and you want to do right by the kid and all of this sort of stuff. And man, that was stressful. All right. And then I somehow had dodged that duty for 10 years. Don't ask me how. No, and actually it wasn't because other board members always volunteered. It wasn't like I was causing a big disruption. But anyway, so I did that. And then the other thing I did was I met with the auditor. And I did forewarn Dr. Aramaki that I was going to be very honest with, express my feelings to the auditor. And I did express my frustration from that time period when I didn't receive the monthly reports. But I did assure the auditor that I have complete faith in our new team and our new reports are great. And they said that they don't actually look for adhering to the budget. They look for other kinds of financial difficulties, but so we're all on that now, but they were glad to hear that. And so hopefully all will go well. And that's it. We are on break for a little bit, and then the board will be reconvening for a study session on budget and finance.
Right on schedule.